Alright, now it's time to talk about A Tale from the Past. Again, this version was DLC, but for the remastered version it's already automatically
It was,
included. And it talks about
15
Dosan's
years
past,
ago that
your
I
tattoo
paid a visit
maker.
to that fortress outside Tabriz.
Cute.
The
He
only
went on a
So let
place
me
mission
on
get.
in the
Earth
He's
same
also a
where we
area.
could
ninja.
make our tattoos.
Yes, well, he was part of the clan. And he went on a
We had
mission,
struck
you
a
know,
deal with some
in the
bandits.
area where the flowers are
We would
cultivated
watch over
to
their exports
keeping
to
track.
the east.
Some of the people
And in
were
return,
assigned to guard
They
it.
would guard our plans.
Uh-huh.
But in time, they learned of the true value
Like, I know he's
of
part of the
plans.
clan. That doesn't always
And
mean
like
he is a
vermin,
ninja, though.
they
For all I
turned
know, he was
It,
just
it
a
showcased
tattoo
the,
artist.
it showcased the present. He is old, so it's more of a case of he was active when he was young, but the clan found a use for him when he got older. But that is to
That
say,
works.
however, he has his own unique style. It's not like he's a pacifist, but his style is on center. He doesn't carry a sword. His style is all about knocking things out. You can still kill. You can
Interesting.
still kill targets by carrying them over like a precipice and killing them potentially. But all of these takedowns is the path of wisdom. Non-lethal takedown and carry more of each items. However, you have no sword. You cannot use farsight because he doesn't have the tattoo. And focus does not stop time. Again, another thing that the tattoo gives. So the more supernatural things that the tattoo normally give you are not given to you.
I'm wondering, with this being included in the DLC, is this a style that you can like equip in the
Yes,
main gameplay?
after you've beaten the DLC, you can actually use it if you want.
So I'm curious, what's the drawbacks to there being no non-lethal takedowns? Let me
As you
guess,
can
enemies
see,
can get back up.
yes, you can see that there's an icon on the down enemy, and if another enemy comes in contact, they can be revived. You even get an achievement if you allow it to happen, and then knock out the same enemy you knocked out once.
Cute.
That,
Well, hey, a style that can pretty much change how you play the game.
that
That's
being
nice.
said, also this DLC introduces also a couple of new gadgets which you will get, as you go on.
So is it one of those cases where at first it seems like a drawback, but in reality this is actually a much more fluid gameplay style that,
Let me put
if
it
you know
this
what you're
way.
doing.
This level adapts it very well. It is designed very well for you to use the style, so it doesn't actually hamper you back, and functions as a good tutorial for you to get used to it if you want to try it in the main game.
And would you say it works well in the main game too?
I mean, fair enough, like.
Oh, don't get me wrong, that's good to hear.
You have
It's
to
just
remember, the base game is something that is virtually able to be beaten, just without being, discovered. Anyway, new tool, which are dusk moths, which that can literally block temporarily any functioning source of light. This doesn't really mean anything because why would you do that if you can just break them with the kunais, which are infinite? Well, here's the thing: the moths do not produce sound, so if you don't want to alert the enemies, they're a good source, and they can also block the sources of light that normally would be unblockable, in the main game. You even get an achievement for doing that. It literally says, "I could not do it before." So again, they have some level of versatility.
I understand that the game is, relatively fine enough to complete. I'm just checking because that is unfortunately one trap thing I've seen happen in both indie
There you
and,
go. They can also
mainstream
disable
games.
temporarily the enemies, so you can, do that. And I got also a side objective with that. Go on, sorry.
It's like, I understand that, I go, I'd be willing to give this team the benefit of a doubt. It's just that it's a failing I've seen in a lot of games, mainstream or indie, where they make an alternate gameplay style that works specifically for the DLC, but the minute you try and do it in the main campaign, the flaws start to show. Key point being Mighty Number 9 with Ray's gameplay.
All right. Well, you have to remember, Drova, you can kind of tell that, in that case, the game had been designed, poorly to begin with, and the DLC was rushed in order to meet the stretch goal quota.
That is fair, but
Oh, by the way, you can crush the enemies with this crap, but they're still counted as knocked out because of your style.
What are these guys made of?
Sure. Ow.
They're just sleeping, Tio.
They fainted, yes.
We only use rubber ammunition here.
Right. Anyway,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure even rubber ammunition can be deadly in the right circumstances.
no, Dweebs, what are you saying? That will mean every time the police use them, they might actually be able to injure people, but don't tell them.
Are you implying that Batman may have killed people with rubber bullets in
Also,
Arkham
also
Knight?
something Yakuza.
I mean, in the past, Batman's killed people by just refusing to help. So
Anyway, the point is that in this particular mission, Dosan was supposed to, aside from scouting the area, there you go, for example, if I drop the enemy here, well, I can still hang in, hang in there, but if I dropped it on the spines, it will count as a victim, It doesn't really punish me for it, but it counts as that in the end screen.
I'm guessing there's a reason for why this guy prefers a non-lethal take compared to
Dosan
most of the
mentions at the
clan.
beginning, he just found carrying a sword too cumbersome for him. That's it. It's not like he has it's not even like he has a no-kill policy, and it's reflected because, as you can see, I can just kill anyone, like that. He's literally just more comfortable acting this way.
I didn't kill him, the spikes did.
Which some ninjas actually did prefer to doing that, because, a lot of their missions were not necessarily just about killing, but also reconnaissance, so...
Still, I dig it.
There you go. But yeah...
Question,
Ow. Again, I left it because I know there's these like of, interruption. Go on, Jova.
Can guards pull down hung guards that are unconscious too?
At least I haven't seen them try to do it. Some of them even get, terrified by that, so there is that. But
even if the guys are just knocked out. Granted, I guess as far as they know, they could be dead.
Anyway, the entire point of Dosan being here, outside of teaching these curs a lesson, is to also making sure that the fortress has all of its particular major trappings activated, which will be the focus on the central part of the mission. It's actually one where I did not get all of the scrolls, which again, it's kind of nice that, despite being DLC, it's treated with all the side content that a normal mission would have, and that includes also the scrolls with haikus on them.
Was this DLC released simultaneously alongside the game, or was it it took a bit of time for it to come out?
If I remember correctly, when I got the original game, it was something that either was distributed, differently, or at that point was already included. It was definitely a DLC for the Xbox 360 version, definitely. But the remastered version comes with it included from the get-go, so you don't really have to worry about it. So, and again, that's the default version that gets sold these days anyway, so might as well.
Of course. It seems like this DLC relatively gels well into the main narrative anyway.
Anyway, here's your next trick, fungal spores. These are actually kind of mean. You can, infect an enemy. You can basically infect an area. An enemy will get insta-killed going nearby, and will infect corpses for quite some time. So any enemy that gets close will also get killed in a contagious kind of way. You even get an achievement, which aptly is called Cordyceps, if you manage to infect 2 enemies at the same time with 1 cadaver.
Wow.
So, wait, so in Mark of the Ninja, you can possibly help to start a pandemic? What the hell?
Well,
chemical warfare.
It's a more localized version, Waves, in a sense that it's very small of the area, and even if it's contagious, the effects, doesn't last long enough. It's enough to kill 1 person and maybe a couple that are around them, but not to the point of spreading like a wildfire.
The first would reactivate.
Anyway, this is your main goal for the central part. You need to reactivate 3 type of contraption. Explosive vases, pots, call them whatever you want.
The second would fill all.
Then one that will actually, as Dosan said, fill the narrow spaces with spikes, as in the vents, the equivalent. And finally, one that will turn all of the surfaces that you use for your kunai to be fragile. Again, Don't ask me how this technology was present for, for a Persian palace, but sure, I'm okay with that.
Old man, are all these details of the story necessary of how you went from point A to B to C?
Shut up, you have to learn something.
Well, of course
But-
you have to. Well, of course you have to hear me talk about every single step that I took. Otherwise, how are you going to know how I got there? You might assume that I'm not teleported into this place.
Sadly, I'm sorry to say, but you don't really get the case of if you die, Dosan said that's not how it went.
That would have been a funny little thing that they added. Which,
Yeah, alas, this isn't King's Quest.
Or Prince of Persia.
or Prince of Persia. Yeah, that was actually the one I was thinking. But yeah, no, it actually is surprising. Like I figured they would do something like that. That'd be a neat little Easter egg.
Again,
And
this DLC is detailed on its own, but still not as much as you might think.
I
Or maybe it could
okay.
be like the game over screens from Indigo Prophecy. Where Lucas
And that's how my
freaking
story ends.
And that's how my story ends. And then and then you just see Lucas dead while the narration keeps going, and it's just like,
How are you narrating even though you're dead?
To be fair, Dwebs, considering how far Night Indigo Prophecy goes, it's kinda, if anything, it makes way more sense.
yeah,
And
because
hey,
remember the plot twist at the end is that Lucas is now basically a god.
The whole thing about that sort of story, you have to understand, Libs, when a game over happens in a video game, you have to understand in the context of the story. So if your character, for example, is immortal, potentially, you have to justify why, story-wise, why would you put a game over there, And usually it would be a case of, I don't know, maybe the villain gets to have more time to accomplish their goals, and as a result you're not able to stop them. So even if you're immortal, getting a game over there signifies that. Again, a creative enough, developer and or storyteller would be able to, go around those kind of limitations.
But Theo, haven't you
If-
learned anything? Game overs are a failure of the game designer.
It's funny you mention that because I was actually going to bring up Beyond Two Souls. Beyond Two Souls, you can actually choose to have the main protagonist be alive or dead after she's telling the story or not.
And yet it means jack shit.
It really does mean Jack Diddles. Good
Well,
lord.
this is Beyond Two Souls we're talking about. A game that talks a lot but says nothing.
Again, for a guy who hates sequels, David Cage put one hell of a sequel hook at the end of Beyond Two Souls.
I get the feeling
Congratulations.
I get the feeling in his mind he was like thinking about, oh, you see, the fight is gonna keep going on and on and on. This will never end. I'm guessing that's what he was going for. The problem is that again, the way he frames it is just so stupid.
What a dreary and dumb message that undercuts any work you put towards a happy ending in that game.
Never knew
So,
Like, you could have the happiest ending possible. Nope, sorry. It turns out the world's ending again.
Hey, I know you're here. It's clear. Maybe he fled.
But yeah, so Tio, I'm
Wrong.
guessing you'll mainly stick to the two gameplay styles of this and that. I feel like you mentioned there being some other gameplay styles. But
there
just
are,
looking
but
at-
again, in terms of appearance, I can tell you we do not differ that much. Only they provide maybe a mask and maybe a simple palette swap, so they're not that much to look at. In terms of gameplay variations, like I told you, they either they change how much, for example, you have in terms of item capacity, what kind of items you carry. So it's mostly just a matter of tweaking what you have. Like if you want to have the ghost experience, you get the ones that makes you more silent and sacrifices the extra. There you go. Sacrifices the extra, attack item in order to have 2 defense items instead. This one, for example, allows you to carry more items outside of not having a lethal takedown, for example.
Of course, of course. What I was getting at is, what would you say is your de facto favorite gameplay style? The main one or an alternative one like this?
I think the main one is balanced enough, but I do, admittedly, I do like the one that allows you to beat the ghost. You know, you can still properly kill people, character with that if you want. But, it's more suited for you to actually take advantage of a level and move around, at your leisure. And you have to remember, only a specific style doesn't do it, but for basically all of them, your checkpoints... oh, check this out. There you go. But aside from one playstyle, all of them have their gadgets replenished at least partially every time you hit a checkpoint. So it's not like the game, either lets you starve. It's more of a case of, knowing the level design and taking advantage with your supplies, basically.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Second trapping activated. And yeah, one of the secondary objectives was to arm 2 of the traps, without being noticed. And yeah, in this case, however, these traps are mostly also a setback to you because, for example, the narrow spaces are something that you rely on, but the enemies don't. But you have to watch out for spikes now.
God, imagine if there was an enemy that could chase you into the narrows.
Don't remember. I'll have to get back to you on the next part.
That fortress had stopped the worst armies the world could throw at it.
Shit.
I love how he says that right as he gets shot.
Like I said, I usually keep these because I know with this kind of stuff and doesn't waste too much time.
It's a funny contrast.
But yeah, these people also have a couple of snipers. Go figure.
I gotta just paraphrase what Spider-Man from Spider-Man 2 says. Where do they get all these guys? The internet?
I couldn't leave the fortress until...
I think Johnny Cage had a similar quote in the first Mortal Kombat movie.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, time to go up.
Seems almost like it's smooth sailing from here.
Depends. Also, as you can see, the non-lethal takedown means that a couple of the ones that you normally would do, like jumping from, jumping from a high place or, under a grate, you cannot perform anymore. So you have to basically get behind the enemy. And there's a slight delay because if you noticed from the animation, Dosan has to, properly run behind the enemy before using the... there you go, before doing the animation. The trade-off is that you don't get the QTE, it's automatic as a result. So basically that's the kind of balancing. You have that kind of slightly delay, so you can potentially still get spotted, but as a result you can potentially, dispatch the enemies still relatively quickly.
That wasn't the wind.
Go. Alright, let's pull the final lever. And with that we're done. We just need to get out of the fortress and reach the final area, the place where they're actually cultivating the flowers, the conservatory.
Yes.
I'm waiting.
Okay, we get it. You teabagged them. Master, did you need to include the part about you teabagging them on...
It was
and
to
I
assert
quote,
dominance.
Because shut up.
as on, I quote, these nuts?
Yes, exactly.
Same goes for, knocking out these enemies. I technically can just go away, but, where's the fun in that?
This is as weird as the story you told us about cranking 90s.
Okay, I was drunk when I said that.
Don't get up. I'll let myself out.
Yeah, we'll wake up in the morning.
Hey, they should
Or is
consider
it-
themselves lucky that they got like one of the few ninjas in that clan that don't kill.
Yes, Pedro.
Or as Jim Carrey would say, please, don't get up.
Did Ace Ventura
Uh-oh.
ever got a Thai video game by LGN back in the day or something?
I don't think so. I mean, we got a cartoon where Rob Paulson played as Ventura, but that's all I remember.
Hey, remember how Ace Ventura actually went up against the Mask in a cartoon?
Yeah, that was a crossover between those two cartoons.
I guess they were done by the same company.
Apparently, yeah.
It was Jim Carrey versus Jim Carrey.
Well, in this case, Rob Paulson versus Rob Paulson, because
Yeah,
in the Mask
because
cartoon,
discounted.
in the Mask cartoon, Rob Paulson also played Stanley Yet, because basically Rob Paulson at the time was cartoon Jim Carrey, basically.
A good fit, honestly. I'll give Rob Paulson credit. If the recent Animaniac shows anything to go off of, he's still got the chops despite old age
yeah.
and a battle with lung or some sort of throat disease.
Mm-hmm. Huh. Apparently the Ace Ventura cartoon went on for 5 years.
Which is
Nice.
weird, because in
I-
contrast to the...
I thought it was one of those typical short-lived cartoons. That
That's
didn't go
because
anywhere.
the Mask cartoon actually was short-lived, if I recall correctly. It was like 1 or 2 season stops.
No, that one I remember being a bit longer than that. Hold on.
Maybe you're reversing the two?
Let me see.
Well, at least you gave that guy a friend to rest by.
Yeah. Anyway, since we're in the conservatorium, basically Dosan is gonna tell you in a second his choice of approach for the matter, because remember, that's the entire reason why we're here. We need to make sure that these people understand the place and everything. Okay, I need to... Yeah, there you go.
Oh, never mind. Taylor's right. The Mask animated series only lasted 3 seasons. Well, that's still good enough.
Well,
it's
yeah,
still
no,
more than
3
I thought.
seasons. 3 seasons is not bad, all things considered.
For a kid's cartoon in the 90s, yeah, that's not bad.
Alright, so you actually have a choice here in our younger situation. You can use the trappings of the building complex in order to scare the shit out of the goons, you know, and you have only, you know, a small amount of traps to use here. You have to only terrorize like 5, you know, people in total, but it's a bit harder to do it. Or you can just knock out everyone, you know, and be done with it. Simple as that. The trade-off is that, you know, you have to knock out literally every single mook in the area, hence why all of those axes. This is why, you know, this kind of balance like that, you know. If you want to take the more safe approach, you know, something that you're more accustomed to it, you have to work a bit more, you know, as a result. However, if you take the more complex option, you have to do less. I will showcase a bit of both, but ultimately I go for the knock every single one in the building.
I'm surprised. That sounds like something Dwibs would do more.
Well,
so.
that's because, first of all, I'm not killing them for a change. It's still teaching them a lesson. Dosan's inadvertent pacifism, you know, helps a bit more also for this. But there's also the fact that, you know, one of your side objectives is to actually try to scare one of the guards using one of the traps,
So I'm curious, does like doing a different route yield you much other than like slight dialogue change?
Yeah, slight dialogue change, that's all. Yes, Pedro?
In the meantime, let me just quickly correct myself. Never mind, I fucked up. Ace Ventura in the cartoon was played by Michael Dangerfield. Let me see what else he did. Because I don't recognize.
Is he by any chance
I don't know. I don't
related
recognize
to-
the name. I don't recognize the name.
Is he related to Rodney Dangerfield?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Okay, so basically this guy alternates between being a voice actor and being a TV live action actor. Interesting.
Is he like the go-to for Jim Carrey?
Oh, he was in
cartoon
the
characters?
he was in the English dub for Gintama the Final. Interesting. Oh, he was Tony in Ninjago. Okay.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it was Tony in
Theo.
the Iron Man anime.
Yeah.
He played Alice's father in The Dragon Prince.
Oh, Okay, it's been a while. Me, Shira, and Liz were actually watching it, but we're kind of stopped. Remind me, Dave, was it like the middle of season 3? I think.
Oh, you guys are watching
But
Dragon Prince.
we haven't done it in a while.
Yeah, in a very long while, Jova.
The
Because,
show-
I remember when I was watching it with you guys. Now I'm pretty much caught up to the shows.
Yeah, you're probably. I don't even know if it has ended or not, to be honest.
Okay,
No, it's still going-
supposedly
it's still-
the
it's
next
still going.
season coming in December is set to be the last one.
Again, I guess props for Netflix for not canceling it, compulsively as usual. So there's that.
Yeah, it's
It
apparently
probably
very
helps that
successful.
Dragon Prince is made by Avatar: The Last Airbender alumni, so canceling a show like that's gotten the reception it has
Specifically.
would
Not the
be-
first time Netflix has done very weird decisions in regards to their
Yeah,
shows.
true. Remember,
That is a
remember,
fair point.
remember, Aaron has the lead writer for Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Again,
Oh,
the only
yeah.
real complaint that people had was the animation style that was resembling, the cutscenes in 3D animated, Fire Emblem games on the 3DS in a more slow fashions. But they basically fixed those starting with season 2.
Definitely. Also, they got back Sokka's actor to play one of the main characters.
Yeah, I remember that too.
They even have a boomerang joke for him.
Again, I remember enjoying what I've seen, which either just stopped just because, other stuff happened in the meantime.
But yeah, I can definitely tell Dragon Prince is made by Avatar writers because it has the same level of lore building.
Oh no! Back when Dragon Prince first came out, everybody was talking about how this was so much better than the Legend of Korra.
Oh, Legend of Korra.
Apparently, too, there was a 1996 Ace Ventura game. Let me
There
see.
you go. Again, if it's 1996, I don't think LGN did it, so it was someone else.
Apparently, it's a PC game.
So it's a point and
Oh.
click, I guess.
Let me see.
It would make sense for the style of, the movies.
God, could you imagine it was a first-person shooter or something?
No, it's not. I can already tell you that it's not. Yeah, it's called Ace Ventura, the CD-ROM game.
Because,
Okay.
well, back when every major PC game was called like that, like the Disney Tiny stuff, were point and click.
Like how Nintendo games have the word 64.
Yeah, it is.
Remember Zelda CDI.
Yes, too. It is a point-and-click adventure game. Yes, basically, it's trying to be kind of like Leisure Suit Larry, basically, from what I'm seeing here.
Is it an adaptation of the movie or is it its own thing?
No, it's based on the animated series.
Okay.
I guess to be fair, it would be maybe a bit tough to make a point-and-click adventure out of the first movie's plot, given all that happens in it. Not impossible, but... Oh, is it wild?
Alright, only 2 goons remaining.
What was that?
Yeah, at this point I
Your
can just say
reckoning.
fuck it.
Someone. Hey.
There we go. We're done.
Was the last of them. Time to go back down the
Yes, I
tortuous
struggled
secret roads
with
that
that
led
last one a bit
nowhere.
there, but I did it.
Almost got away.
Well, you're very honest, I guess.
My own mess.
Thank goodness
Hey,
there's no
part
falling
of a
damage.
part of a ninja's training is humility.
There you go, you just end the level like this.
I had delivered a message to the chief and, well, we never had trouble with him again.
Oh.
I returned to the clan satisfied.
This basically just this DLC basically just also serves to tell you that Dosan, used to kick ass when he was young. He wasn't just a
And
wimp.
mastered its use.
Mm-hmm.
But
Nobody knows
with age
more
he
of
decided to
its
dedicate his
secrets
life
than I
onto becoming a tattoo
do.
maker.
Nobody here values it more.
It's also consistent
The
enough
fate
with the
of the
voice
clan
actors that
rests
they
in
had,
those
so at the very least there was no recasting.
I will do whatever it takes to ensure our future.
There you go, only just a few actual casualties. Alright.
Yeah. I like it. The no enemies killed. That's probably one of the easiest levels to get that bonus for.
Alright, tune in for the next part where we reprise our regularly scheduled program and see how our main character, and his friend and Dosan managed to get out of the fortress. See ya.
Bye.
We'll see you then.